out a demonstration. We agreed that we carry out a demonstration. We assembled at where is that parade ground? Eagle Square. We released some money to go and bring women and all that. I walked in. What about me? I must go early to know what is going on before people will come. See the women gathered. Guess what they are wearing? Jonathan for president. God bless you.
I can see so many hands up. I need to be a bit partial.
Let me intervene here.
Okay.
That is borrowed from Rivers. Because when Odili was in office as a governor, we went on a rally. The entire stadium was filled to capacity. But before we could finish the rally, everybody had left. We were left alone. Then I asked what happened. He said they were paid for only 2 hours.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yeah, that was politicians having their day. Amici has raised some point. He says the politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, and to remain in power. The politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, and to remain in power. And politicians were there. Atiku Abubakar was there. Tambuwa was there. Malam Nasir El-Rufai was there. They did not oppose him. Did Amechi state the obvious? The politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, and to remain in power. Do you agree with him? The numbers to call 070694 930 00. 070694 930 00. Call the radio station on 070 144 757 70. That is 070 144 757 70. You can also leave your comment on X, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. The politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, and to remain in power. What do you think? Hello, good morning.
Yeah. Hello, good morning. My name is Dapo.
Yes, good to hear your voice, Mr. Dapo.
Yeah, welcome. I listened to the statement of Amici, Atiku, and others. And other television there were laughing. Amici said the obvious. And that is exactly what is happening. In a good country, all these present politicians will have been rounded up and put in prison. And the kind of society we find ourselves, that is why Amici and others can have that God to be paying that in public. And they are walking free in the society. And you can see where we find ourselves. No light, no, the economy is in shambles, where everybody is crying for hunger. And these people, they are making fun of Nigerians. It's unfortunate. I didn't expect these people, the present politicians that are rotating every 4 years. I didn't expect them to be working free in the society. They should be in one of the prison in Nigeria. It's very unfortunate. Thank you. That's my thing.
Thank you for calling the radio station. Are you on X? Olani Sam Legend Baba is on X. Olani, good to have you in class this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. The great Edmond Obilo.
I greet you.
I'm very happy to be in the class of Edmond Obilo, School of Politics and Power. My name is Olamilekan Ademaraki. Mr. Edmond Obilo, thank you so much for the good work you are doing there, sir. May God continue to bless you. I agree entirely with the summation of Amishi. But the question I want to ask Amishi is that why was he not saying something like this 2 years ago? Maybe some people have forgotten that Amishi was one of the most powerful governors during his time. I can't forget how he fought Jonathan to the standstill. I can't forget that Amishi was one of the speakers at the age of 20-something years. So why am I saying this morning is Mr. Edmond? I know the politicians, they are gathering, they are scheming. They want to take power at all costs. The question I'm asking the youth, the Nigerian populace, is this. Are you ready? These people will come now. They begin to tell us, sweet something with their sweet mouth. Are we going to buy it again, Mr. Edmond? Mr. Edmond, sir, a politician told me that if you want to deal with a politician, just take that power from them. It's like a feeding bottle to them. You will see them, they will begin to turn themselves to an activist. They will turn themselves to a motivational speaker. You can see Nasir El-Rufai on social media. Suddenly, he has turned himself to a motivational speaker. He has turned himself to another Omoyele Sowore, to Mr. Edmond Obilo. Are we going to continue like this in this country? We are living in a country of 200 million people, and the majority of the citizens, they are living in abject poverty. No light, no good road. You cannot even travel, Mr. Edmond. And these people, they will gather together, begin to say sweet things to Nigeria. And Nigeria, we are watching. For how long are we going to take this, Mr. Edmond? I think enough is enough. We can't continue like this. Thank you so much, Mr. Edmond, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Olamilekan Ademarati. Thank you. Happy to hear your voice this morning. The lines are open.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good to hear your voice.
I support what Amishi said. If all Nigerian youth are listening, he said he started at younger age, since 1987. He has been in that power. He has been in the system following them. What are we youth doing? We silent. Somebody said that there's no light. We silent. They want to increase the tariff. The youth silent. They want to increase the communication fees. We silent. And we are blaming what Amishi said. It is trying to tell us what we should do. He has been in power. He told us what we should do if we want to live in good life, in better life. We cannot silence. Nobody should blame them. They have told us that they will use money to gather everybody together. Is it not the money they are still using? They are distributing the right to us. Is it not the money they are using? Did they give us the right thing? Don't blame this man. Thank God for El Rufai that came out. Yoruba people will not like this because it is your person that is ruling. We need to stay on the truth. The Bible said the all of righteousness is it. No, why are we so by heart? He came out to tell us the fact and figure how to take ourselves out. They tell themselves truth in America. Donald Trump become the president. They know that America is falling down. They brought him back. She will be listening, sit down, doing nothing. Let us stand up and wake up.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. Amechi says the politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, and to remain in power. Do you agree with his submission? Good morning.
Good morning, Edmond. This is Olashukwu JK from Akubo.
Olashukwu JK.
Well done, my brother.
Thank you.
I like where you are, the line you are saying this morning. I like it. Just let me have. After these people might have locked off everything that we're supposed to have, they have taken it away from us. After they might have gained certain things, they now become orators. It's not as if what Amechi is saying is not true. It's true. It's true, but is he saying it because he lost the presidency to the current president? Or is he saying it out of his good mind to Nigerians? Look at what the former president said this morning. I was listening to news people that Buhari was praising his government in the Finland land. Buhari is not supposed to be in the home by now. But now they are praising themselves, talking to us as if we are buffoons. We are not buffoons. It's only that we have never gathered together to do what Amiji is recommending to us. And we will do it one day. Thank you, man.
Thank you, J.K. Olashukwu. Architect Raji Aliyu says, good morning, Mr. Edmund. That's exactly what they are. Amici has said the dirty truth. Power is not served a la carte. You have to fight to get it. James Obogo is on X. He says, isn't it obvious? This statement is evident in the wanton stealing and shedding of innocent blood in the land by politicians to perpetrate themselves in power. We must wise up as a people, or else we remain in this mess. That is James Obogo on X. Mayowa on X is saying, we as citizens have also been silent for a long time. I will make them feel important. And when the politician comes again with sweet words, just like Amici said, we'll clap for them again. Joshua Livingstone, hello, Joe. Joe says that politicians aren't clueless. They know the damage they cause. Their silence is proof of guilt. Their silence is proof of guilt in that record played. Okay, in that record played. Joe, please spell out your words and you help the radio man. But their obsession with power blinds them. A guilty conscience speaks louder than words. They know they have failed the people at many points. So why would they object? That is Joshua Livingstone on X. Adeniji Ademola is on X. He says, what Amechi said was nothing but the truth, which is, he's also a culprit. Politicians are our major problems, and it seems there is no solution in sight. Ambassador 013 says, Iobilo, tell your caller that Amici has always been speaking. He was the one that asked Nigerians to stone them for their poor performance. But now we refuse now. Good morning, Radio Man. I am in class. Ayomide Emmanuel, good morning. Ayomide says it is troubling that a politician would admit to exploiting power for selfish gain. This mindset fuels corruption, poverty, and underdevelopment. Nigeria needs leaders with integrity and accountability to break this circle and unlock the nation's true potential. KG Akinwale is on X. He says these politicians know themselves in and out. But why is it difficult for them to speak up when they are in power, but turn to motivational speakers and comrades when they leave power? Olanik Bekun Richard, good morning. He says Amechi made a concise statement. Perhaps maybe we Nigerians can get our heads straight as the ball keep rolling towards 2027. All right. Afiz is on X. He says, good morning, Edmund. Our politicians are another breed of human beings. Natty is in class. He's on X too. All right. I'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
State Affairs with Edmond Nobilo is live. Tuned.
Holocaust. You called it Holocaust.
Yes.
How?
When the coup came up, it was jubilation all over the street in Kaduna. People were jubilating.
Called the first coup a revolution.
A revolution.
Why was it a
I
revolution?
don't agree with those people who tag Nzogo revolution as Igbo revolution.
You know,
They made an alliance with the party of Akintola. That was, I was telling that the ruling party wanted to extend their political tentacle to capture power in the West. Revolution is a revolution, whether people are from the same place, provided you have the same mind to remove those in power, it doesn't matter at all. Zogu was given that national honor. So he was a hero. Look at how they left the north in chaos. How many of them became president of this country from northern part of the country? Look at the poverty there. At alarming rate, not to not, we rule. Our people govern for almost 20-something years. But what have we gotten from the north? Poverty and squalor. Abject poverty in the north.
why did you join the army to fight Biafra?
And I reminded Nigeria that they could have harnessed the resources, human resources, the scientific evolution that took place in Biafra to shape the scope of our military department.
In your book, you mentioned Biafran armored vehicle called Red Devil.
The Red Devil.
You saw it in action.
I don't think such a thing will happen in this country again. I don't think any sensible person who witnessed the Holocaust of the war will talk about any war. About the politicians, have they learned any lesson? It's sad, very sad indeed. Our politicians have never learned any lesson at all about the war.
Nzogu's coup speech was talking about those who collect 10%.
10%.
Good for nothing VIP.
Yes.
And they got angry and struck.
Yeah, they struck. Saying here now that if Nigeria continue to deny leadership to Igbo people, then this country will not move forward.
Fought with the 3rd Marine Commando.
Exactly.
Led by Colonel Benjamin Adekunle, the Black Scorpion.
Yes.
Why was he called the Black Scorpion?
I said the war was prolonged because Adekunle did not pay attention to the welfare of the soldiers. After the war, we did not get anything. We did not get anything. Brother Obasanjo was posted to us, and he was touring the trenches of the 12th Brigade at Aba, Obo Hill. He came to the trench where we were, and we quickly planned to take him out.
I have a war veteran with me. We have come to walk down history lane. We have come to reflect. It's about understanding where we are coming from and then look into the future. My guest is Peter Faruna Salifu, WO2 retired. Old soldier, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you so much, Bilo.
How are you?
Fine.
You are 77.
77 years old.
Yeah. And you still remember your days as a soldier.
Exactly.
In fact, one thing I like about your memories is that you have decided to put pen to paper.
Exactly.
To tell your stories. You have a new book.
Exactly.
Entitled The Holocaust of the Nigerian Biafra War.
Exactly.
1967 to 1970. My memories from the war front. The Holocaust. You called it Holocaust.
Yes.
How?
Because the war was devastated, very, very destructive war that we fought, that consumed lives, destroyed property. That was why I gave that, my book, that title.
Holocaust.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, whatever I say, put the blame on Tambua, because we had together prayed Islam prayer that we should not talk here at all. And it looks as if his prayer didn't work. That's why I'm talking. Exactly. He says, my name is Ibrahim. I was going to respond to you. You see, all we hear here is typical Nigeria. Typical Nigeria, and you are clapping. That's why politicians get away with anything. They get away with murder because you have short memory. Short memory. None of you here seated can defend the votes. If you have complained, Nigerians have been clapping for you. The only way Shekarau became governor, do you know how? Because people lined up. When they ask how many people are there, they say over 500,000. No, I won't give 500,000. Announce Shekarau. It happened in Ghana. Before the election of the last president. 2 days, a lot of us were called to intervene. But why did they do that? The people were ready to die. You are talking, abusing everybody. Nobody has power and will give it to you. Nobody, not even me. If you want a pastor as president, can't get one. The politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, to remain in power. If you think Tinubu will give it to you, you are wasting your time. So when we speak, we forget history. Unfortunately for me, poverty has made me to be part of the political system from when I left university. I left university 1987, and I've been part of the process till today. You can't wish me away in the formation of APC. You certainly can't wish me away. You can't wish me away in how APC won election. You can't. But the truth is that if some of us did not stick at our neck, say, PDP, good luck, we want to die with you. When they saw that we were ready to die, what did they do? They gave up power. So we have sweet mouth, we'll talk about it, we'll repeat these things every day. Tomorrow they will call you in Lagos, you will go.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You accused Delwa of gun running, right?
That's the information. They said he was talking somewhere about arms and ammunition.
They said.
He was not accused of gun running.
Who they said? Who are they?
That's the information that reached SSS.
How did you get the information?
I cannot say that because I'm not the only source of information to SSS.
But was it true?
They have all over the place. They have people writing reports in.
Did you investigate it?
He was not accused. I said, we asked him, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
And what did he say?
He said, Akilu has asked him. I was waiting for us to answer that question. Because Akilu has asked that question and he has discussed Akilu. And I said, okay, you should have this thing. But later on he said, he is aware that some people are out to blackmail him.
And what did you tell him?
I told him, then go and assess all your friends and the people you talk with.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Was it true that he discussed gun issues?
We as in, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
But I'm asking now, did he ever talk about arms and ammunition from the information you got?
There are so many sources of information and intelligence to SSS.
Do you verify those sources?
It's not every information that gets to me.
The one that got to you that made you to invite Delegiwa, did you
That woman told me this is what we were inviting him for.
As the Deputy Director General, did you interrogate that information?
Since it came to me that they invited him, I didn't know when they invited him.
The point I'm making, was that information authentic, or the SSS just wanted to intimidate him?
No. If it was not authentic, they will not invite him.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Somebody told me in Lagos, said, look, Mr. Mechi, I said, sir, you see these people that gathered here? I said, yes. We called them transport, this, they came. If tomorrow Tinubu comes with the same transport, they will also come. And the final example is when we are pursuing, the APC was registered, and I was scared that, look, they may rig us out. So I got the party to agree that we will carry out a demonstration. They agreed that we will carry out a demonstration. We assembled at, that parade ground, Eagle Square. We released some money to go and bring women and all that. I walked in. One time about me, I must go early to know what is going on before people will come. See the women gathered. Guess what they are wearing? Jonathan for president. God bless you.
I can see so many hands up. I need to be partial.
Let me intervene here. Okay. That is borrowed from Rivers. Because when Odili was in office as a governor, we went on a rally. The entire stadium was filled to capacity. But before we could finish the rally, everybody had left. We were left alone. Then I asked what happened. He said they were paid for only 2 hours.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
And there is this anti-Igbo sentiment that have been put into this issue. And our own duty is to make sure that the thing is not fly up. So advising him that way, we not say, you can write your article, but don't allow your article to flame up this and tribal sentiment.
You know,
that is not intimidation.
About 2 invitations within a very short period by the SSS, interviewed by the feared Deputy Director General of the SSS. And General Togun, you say it is not intimidating?
It is not intimidating. Advising, because we are to make sure that there's internal stability in this country.
But why Delegiwa all the time?
SSA was not the only one that invited him.
Because the Directorate of Military Intelligence.
The police invited him.
Why him?
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
A Paso bomb was sent to Delegiwa, right?
Yeah.
They said the Paso bomb bore the insignia of the head of state. Is it true? It was well packaged, like a message from the head of state. Is it true?
That was what they said. It's not true. because I have analyzed that aspect. Because he said the parcel was in a envelope, which kind of you can say is a padded envelope. And he said that it was put there from the CNC.
Commander-in-Chief.
Now, but again, he said there was the insignia of the presidency on the envelope. If there is the insignia of the presidency there is no need again from the CNC.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Before the bomb incident on October 19th, 1986, it was said that the DMI boss, Halilu Akilu, had called Delegiwa, intimating him of his likely visit. Is that true?
Yes.
That is true.
There you remember mentioned it.
Halilu Akilu wanted to visit Delegiwa.
He asked for his address.
House address. Yeah. And he never visited.
He explained. Because DIG remember said they invited Akilu.
Okay.
And he came. They asked him all these questions. That he said he was planning to travel. So, and he felt that, okay, if his house is close by, on his way to the airport, he could branch and see him. But he didn't.
He didn't?
He didn't travel again.
So why didn't he call to say, I'm not coming again? Okay, you are not Halilu Akilu.
Exactly.
But he wanted to get the house address.
But Omebe cleared Akilu.
But he got the house address, right?
Yes.
And after getting the house address, the next day somebody delivered the letter. Right?
It was 2 days after.
Okay, 2 days after. A letter was delivered.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That is an interview you should not miss. The interview with Brigadier General Kunle Tagun, retired. You don't have to miss that interview at all on this edition of State Affairs. You know, for decades, the assassination of Nigerian journalist Delegiwa by a letter bomb on October 19, 1986 has remained one of Nigeria's most controversial and unsolved mysteries. The finger of suspicion has pointed in many directions, and one man who has repeatedly been drawn into the storm is Brigadier General Kunle Tagun, retired, the former Deputy Director General of the State Security Service. So in this gripping episode of State Affairs, Brigadier General Tagun breaks his silence, offering his perspective on the tragic event that shook the nation. This conversation delves into the heart of Nigeria's dark history of political intrigue, press freedom, and state power. Whatever you think you know the story, whether you think you know the story or are hearing it afresh, this interview might just change everything. Brigadier General Kunle Tagun on State Affairs. Don't miss it. Let me talk about building a nation for the common good. and it involves confronting the reality of power and denial in Nigerian politics. In that revealing exchange, you saw Rotimi Amechi defining Nigerian politician. And almost all the callers agree with him. But Bello Matawalle, the Minister of State for Defense, do not agree with Rotimi Amechi. So in a revealing exchange between Rotimi Amechi and Bello Matawalle, we are offered a mirror to the stark realities that define the political landscape of Nigeria. Amechi's statement that politicians kill for power reflects a bitter truth about the extent to which the pursuit of political control has corrupted the country's governance. Matawalle, in response, dismisses Amechi's claim as reckless. Some have said that dismissal is a continuation of a tradition of denial that has long hindered the development of Nigeria. So what has arisen? It is philosophical tension between harsh reality and self-deception. And it's not merely a political disagreement, but a reflection of the deeper struggles within Nigerian society itself. To build a nation that serves the common good, Nigerians must first confront this tension and embrace a collective commitment to justice and equity. The harsh truth, Amechi's reflection on political power. Remember, Amechi is a former Minister of Transportation and the former Governor of Rivers State. In that speech we have played, he did not mince words when he spoke on the corrupt nature of Nigerian politics. His assertion that politicians kill for power is not as reckless as it may initially appear. Do you agree? Rather, it is a statement grounded in the long-standing history of violence in Nigerian politics. It is not just about the history of violence, it's also about the history of corruption and betrayal that has shaped Nigerian politics. This is the reality that many Nigerians face daily. A system in which the acquisition and retention of power are valued above human life, dignity, and ethical governance. Philosophically, Amechi's statement calls to mind the political theories of Niccolo Machiavelli, who famously argued in the book The Prince that rulers must be prepared to take any necessary measures, even morally dubious ones, to secure their position. Did you get that point? Remember, I have told you an encounter I had with a top politician. And I mentioned that book. I know I'm mentioning it again. Some of you who will attend my physical class of politics, power, and history, you have the opportunity to study that work with me. I have developed a course that I call Human Engineering. It's in that course that we will look at the implications of some of these statements and prepare the future for the progress that will come. Niccolo Machiavelli argued in The Prince that rulers must be prepared to take any necessary measures, even morally dubious, to secure their position. In a nation where power is often seen as a zero-sum game, where the success of one group or individual comes at the expense of others, Machiavelli's advice rings eerily true. But what Amechi highlights is not just the personal ambitions of politicians, but a systemic issue, a culture of power acquisition through unscrupulous means, whether that be through violence, manipulation, or corruption. This mindset, which sees power as an end in itself, perpetuates a cycle of exploitation and inequality. Are you still in class? Nigeria's history is rife with examples where the pursuit of power has led to the loss of countless lives and resources, whether during the era of military rule or in the continuing violent conflicts between rival political factions. The violence in the southeast is as a result of politics. The birth of Boko Haram is as a result of politics. Banditry in the northwest and in the midwest is a consequence of our poor politics. The poverty that has consumed the nation is a product of our politics. That is why I make the point that Nigeria's history is rife with examples where the pursuit of power has led to the loss of countless lives and resources. When Amechi speaks of politicians killing for power, he is acknowledging a circle of violence that stunts national growth and undermines the potential of the Nigerian people. In contrast, Bello Matawalle, the former governor of Zamfara State and now Minister of State for Defense, swiftly condemned Amechi's remarks as reckless, suggesting that such statements only deepen the country's divisions. Matawalle's response embodies a philosophical denial, an unwillingness to confront the ugly truths about Nigeria's political machinery. By rejecting Amechi's statements as baseless, Matawalle is participating in the long-standing tradition of self-deception that many Nigerian politicians and citizens engage in. To remind Matawalle, the present governor of Zamfara State has accused Matawalle of being behind banditry in Zamfara when he was the governor. He accuses Matawalle of extreme violence in his governance. Matawalle now has become the Minister of State for Defense. So, he has questions to answer from the governor of his state. However, it is important that we take Matawalle seriously. Matawalle is participating in the long-standing tradition of self-deception that many Nigerian politicians and citizens engage in. This denial is dangerous because it prevents the necessary conversations from taking place. This attitude is reminiscent of Plato's allegory of cave, with prisoners chained inside a cave. Yes, look at this. Plato made this point. He described a cave where prisoners were chained inside. So in the cave, the prisoners see their shadows only. They don't see the real world. To them, these shadows are the entirety of reality. Similarly, Matawalle's dismissal of Amechi's remarks suggests that many in Nigeria are content with seeing only the surface of the political landscape, choosing not to acknowledge the deeper issues that perpetuate inequality, violence, and corruption. This denial is a barrier to real development, as it encourages Nigerians to continue living in a state of ignorance rather than confronting the root causes of their struggles. However, by dismissing the idea that politicians might go to great lengths, including committing acts of violence to secure power, Matawale inadvertently fosters the illusion that the Nigerian political system is fair, stable, and just. This is a dangerous myth, for as long as Nigerians remain blind to the harsh realities of their political system, they will continue to suffer under the weight of an elite-driven, corrupt structure. Are you in class? I'll tell you more as we go. In this class of politics, power, and history, there is a need to open the mind. I want to hear your voice. Write on X. Let me know how you feel. I'm here to read your messages, and I'm here to listen to you. So you can call the radio station on 070694 93000. That is 070694 93000 or 070144 75770. Those are the numbers to call. That is 070144 75770. All right. Most of the lines are open. Good morning. You can also leave your messages on X. I'm here to read your message. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Obilo. My name is Tonya Brown.
Mr. Tonya Brown.
Thank you. Well done this morning once again. I think I'm in class. Stephen King once said, the most important things are the hardest to say because words diminish them. End of quote. So if Matawale is saying that what Ameti is saying is not the truth, then what is the truth? Ameti has just explained to us, to Nigerians, to the world, that this is who a politician is. Is there to kill? Are they not killing? Is there to maim? Is there to steal? Are they not stealing? Are they not maiming? Matawale is even under watchdog. I mean, he's governor of Zamfara has accused him of having gotten involved in terrorists, assisting them. He knows about them, and he's claiming it is a society like this that people like Matawale will now become defense minister. What a shame! People that have no, there are standards to, if you have such issues around you, and then you will be appointed political patronage, political one family. So even if you are killing, Ameti has, he knows Ameti was involved in the Niger Delta, issues. He knows it. Ameti was a speaker for 8 years, a governor for 8 years, a minister for 8 years. But he said he's poor because poverty is what has driven him since 1987 to get involved in politics. What another shame. So what these people are telling us is that Nigerians, it is the right time. We must watch, we must open our eyes. Unfortunately, people like me, we are advancing. But I'm talking about the youth today. That these people that are around, they will come again. Next year, campaign will start. They begin to speak good words. They begin to promise us whatever that does not exist at the end. Look at former President Buhari saying that during his time, economy was fine. So what a shame. So I think going forward, Nigerian youth should own the process, decide what they want to do, and go for it. And let us see where we take us to. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. The youth you are calling on, none of them have even called the radio stations this morning. It is the elderly ones that are still complaining and talking. So where are the youths? Where have they gone to? Are they in class? Or they want to jackpot and leave the country for Amici and Tinubu? They can do whatever they like with it. You know, is she in power to steal? You know, Amici made a sweeping statement. Are there exceptions? Are there exceptions? Is she in power to steal, to kill, and destroy? Amechi is saying grab it and run with it. Is that what Amechi is saying? That you should take it and run with it. The lines are open. Hello, good morning. Hello, that caller is not ready. Good morning.
Good morning, Edmund.
Your name and where you are calling from?
Ayekuto. I'm calling from the city of Delwa.
Ayekuto, good to hear your voice.
I want to thank Amechi because he did not exonerate himself from the accusation that every politician in Nigeria is dubious. So he didn't exonerate himself. This is a manifestation that Nigeria were in for serious trouble. Because when politicians are there, they will play in order to remain in power. It's very, very unfortunate of him. And every politician in this country. That reason Nigeria is not moving forward. Good morning.
All right. I can see Oladele Deu Joseph on X. Says, good morning, radio man. Happy to be in class this morning. The problem with Nigeria is that what belongs to all of us is stolen by a few amongst us. Yet majority of us are still afraid to talk. Yes, Amechi is correct. Nigerians are too docile, aided by fear, religion, and tribalism. Akorede Kamel says, the answer to those who wonder why politicians say the truth after leaving office is they are part of the political theories while in office, so they have to manage and guide their utterances. Abeze Chasobina says, what I see in many Nigerian politicians is absolute application of Machiavellian tactics. However, I do not agree with Amechi because he generalized it. There is still good politicians with good intention. Anyway, there are always exceptions in any system. There are always exceptions. Femi Olufemi is on X. He says, politicians kill Nigeria and Nigerians to death. Our Commonwealth is the shield they use as barrier between them and the masses. But one day, I believe, one day will come, day of rage. Politicians should prepare for the day. You know, the way we mention politicians, as if they are not our brothers and sisters, as if they are not our fathers and mothers. So when you say politician, be careful, because there's one in your family. And perhaps from what he has stolen, he has educated many members of your family. He has sent some abroad. He has provided food. So is the politician the problem really, or is it a systemic issue? Is it an individual issue or is it a systemic one? Or both? Individual and systemic. For it to be systemic, it must involve individual actions over time. So we are talking about a political culture here that has been imbibed by many Nigerians, even outside politics. So how come even the new politicians behave like the old ones? That means even the politician yet unborn will behave like the politician of today if the system is not tinkered with. Have you thought of it? It's about culture. The lines are open. Let me hear from you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Gabriel Akomalafe.
Good to hear your voice.
I want to, yes, sir, I want to appreciate you, Egbon Obilo, for all this your analysis of political issues in Nigeria. But from my own perspective, I'd like to ask you a question if actually we indeed have a way out. The reason why I'm saying that is because the politicians, they are the one in power. They are the one that have all the instruments of state. Even when somebody is accused of corruption and it belongs to their camp, they have a way of silencing that investigation and all the things that will make for the arrest of that person. When the election comes, you understand they have weaponized corruption and they weaponize poverty. They need to share just few things and people will still vote them in. So, sir, what do you think that we as the weak masses can do? Because gathering together, look at all the issues of the protest. You know that Tinubu has silenced all those protests now. You can't come out and then you know be arrested. What is the way forward, sir? Thank you.
What is the way forward? He's putting me on the spot. Okay. Let me recommend a book to you. This book has a lot of ideas on the way forward. It's entitled Federalism and Political Restructuring in Nigeria. A book edited by 4 eminent professors: Kunle Amuwo, Adigun Agbaje, Rotimi Suberu, and George Harrod. Federalism and Political Restructuring in Nigeria. In this book, you find the solutions, some of the solutions to Nigeria's problem. So that is why I brought this book to you, because I know people will ask me, what are the solutions? Well, basically what this book is saying is there is a need for us to redefine our political structure, our political culture. And by doing this, we must have set in motion the structures for progressive development of the Nigerian state. It talks about the politics of appointment, the demands of pluralism, federal character and social justice. There is a lot you can take from this book. In this book, you will study the Constitutional Conference, political restructuring and women's access to power. In this book, you will read about the imperative of state building, the imperatives of state building. In this work, you will discuss history, you look at representative bureaucracy. I've talked about federal character. In fact, there's a chapter here written by Professor John Ayuade. That's chapter 6 of the book, entitled The Federal Character Principle and the Search for National Integration. So this book, Federalism and Political Restructuring in Nigeria, will go a long way in teaching you a lot. You know, some would say protest, protest, protest. You know, some would say revolution, revolution, revolution. You know, different persons. Some would say violence, like the ones carrying guns. Say, no, let's take on these guys using guns. All these approaches have their consequences. Let's assume revolution takes place in Nigeria at the moment. And let's pray that revolution is not bloody. Will it solve the problem? You know what revolution does is to totally disrupt a system, totally. it brings it down. So because you have brought down that system, you have created chaos. You know, when you bring in a bulldozer, that's what revolution is, that kind of revolution. You know, you bring in a bulldozer to bring down a building. So what you create is debris and dust everywhere. That is what revolution does. Because you have disrupted the institutions of the state. So during that period of chaos, when you are struggling to now revamp the state, to now put those structures back, it is always a dangerous period. It is either it throws up a dictator, and that dictator can only tame that chaos with force. He becomes brutal. Now it's either he begins to arrest the old politicians, kill them, or chase them into exile. Now, because the politicians are now scared of their lives, the old ones that have been removed, remember they have stolen a lot of resources, so some of them will not be able to run away. They will now build resistance with the money they have built. They can arm themselves. That is why you see when revolution is not properly guided, it might lead to another insurrection. Like it happened in France. That's what you call the reign of terror. And because of the instability over time, you know, those who led the revolution grabbed power, arrested those they removed, killed some of them. So those who led the revolution began a fight among themselves too, struggling for power. Who will take what? How do we share power? Because after the revolution, the next is how do we share power? That leads to another fight. Because Edmond Obilo will say, no, I participated, so you must give me the Southwest. The other man will say, yes, you must give me the Northwest. A struggle for power will ensue again. So during that period, war might start. Like what happened in South Sudan. South Sudan fought against Sudan for 20 years. South Sudan wanted independence by all means. The civil war lasted, and eventually a referendum was called, and South Sudan got her independence. When South Sudan got her independence, after about 6 months, war ensued within South Sudan, the struggle for power. I'm just discussing one of the consequences. So it depends on the kind of revolution. If it is a democratic revolution, it is calmer, like what happened in America. Some say protest. You know, like the NSAS protest, let's assume the NSAS protest ended the government of Muhammadu Buhari, there would have been total chaos. Because the youths that were on the street were saying, no, we don't want leaders. We don't want any leader. Just leave us. We don't want any... So that cannot be a revolution. A revolution must be led. A revolution must be guided by an intellectual core. So at some point, when I was looking at NSAS, let's assume that the government of Buhari collapsed at that time. It could have been total chaos. The police would have left the street. The army will leave the street, and we will turn on ourselves. So that is why I'm recommending this book, Federalism and Political Restructuring. We need an organized reworking of the system. We have shed too many bloods already, and we must not continue to shed blood. Not even the blood of a corrupt politician. I feel there's a way we can rejig the system, what I call mental revolution. That is what I am thinking, but I have not concluded. I don't know what you are thinking. Don't miss the Kunle Togun interview on State Affairs. Another book I'm recommending to you that will help you find the solution is this book, Religion, Politics, and Power in Northern Nigeria. Religion, Politics, and Power in Northern Nigeria, written by Matthew Hassan Kuka. You will find these books on udarabooks.com, on udarabooks.com. You can also order the books through my WhatsApp number. That is 080 999 18449. 080 999 18449. You just chat with me on WhatsApp and say you want to order these books. I'm just raising different points on revolution, protest, evolution, and the idea of state building. It is something we can all put heads together to say we need to move our country forward. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live. Splash.
Book, you made a very strong argument in chapter 2 of the book.
Yes.
Saying that the Igbos did not cause the war.
Yes.
Who caused the war?
The cause of that war, if we look at it closely, and through my intensive research, I discovered that that war was caused by the revengeful counter-coup of Major Murtala Mohammed, July 29, 1966. You see, that coup brought about hardship to Igbo people. The coup was a coup of revengeance. Through my research, I equally discover that the killings of July 29, 1966 can be referred to a massacre of Igbo people. The senseless killing, it to say Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon stem the degeneration of that killing into Igbo program. There could have no be war at all, civil war at all. But that coup, mass killing, snowball into Igbo program that brought about the war, ignited the war itself. That is my opinion. There's no way, there's no other way you can look at it. That's the truth of the matter. And that's my strong belief. It was not the Ndiogu revolution, 1966 revolution that was erroneously believed to be the person who caused the war, nor Igbo as a whole, nor Ojukwu as a whole. But the war was caused by that 1966, July 1966 coup.
You are an Igala man from Kogi State.
I'm from the north.
You are not an Igbo man.
I'm not an Igbo man. I'm not from the south.
You joined the Nigerian Army in 1967.
I joined the Nigerian Army in 1967.
The pogrom you are talking about took place in 1966.
In 1966.
You were in Kaduna then.
I was a living witness.
What did you see?
I saw so many things. I was there working at one of the textile industry at Kakuri, Kaduna, when the first coup was staged by Major Kaduna Nzogu. When the coup came up, it was jubilation all over the street in Kaduna. People were jubilating. And they were happy about that coup that took place. Because if you see how that coup came up, there were some events going on. The corruption, and nepotism. People disliked those things, and the crisis that came up in the Western region during 1965 election as a result of the ruling class trying to extend their political tentacle to cover the West. So it resulted to using talks to snatch away boxes. There was naked rigging of election that degenerated into almost anarchy in the West. So the riot in the West, which was popularly referred to as Operation Waity,
Operation Waity,
where mass people were killed, was going on. The Prime Minister was helpless to quell the situation, and this created an avenue for the military people to take over.
And you said there were jubilations in the street of Kaduna.
Yes,
when Zogo and co struck. But why would they jubilate when Ahmadu Bello, their leader, was killed in that coup?
Because of the happenings, the political happenings during that time. People were disenchanted with the level of corruption going on among the ruling class. The nepotism was going on. And it came to a level where vote did not count. In our nascent democracy in the Fourth Republic. So people were not happy.
Who did you see jubilating? Were they northerners?
The masses.
Or southerners in Kaduna?
Masses of
did
the
you,
people.
Did you jubilate?
Yes, I did.
You welcomed the coup?
I thought it was a relief, a big relief. I thought it was a big relief.
In your first book, this book,
yes,
this is your first book.
Exactly.
About the war.
Yeah.
You titled the book The Bloody Nigerian Biafran War.
Exactly.
You called the first coup a revolution.
A revolution.
Why was it a revolution?
It was a change in government. Change in government.
In this book, it's like you celebrated the first coup.
I celebrated it. If you look at the personality of those who staged the coup, the January coup, 1966, they were radicals, element, well read. Look at the life of Njogu, Cardinal Njogu. He was widely read with the school of Marxist philosophy, and he was vast in military history. So he was a radical socialist officer who wanted a change of government. He wanted a change of government. They wanted to clean up the government, the First Republic, because they saw that that government of Baliwa was not working. It was not working. So they wanted to uproot it. So that was why Sadana was killed. Sadana was the leader of the party, NPC, who stayed in Kaduna. Tafawa Balewa was the prime minister who controlled the apparatus at the federal level. So Anuyo wanted to change this rotten apparatus. So they became targets. Two of them became targets of the revolutionaries.
You also made the point in your first book.
Yes.
That it was not an Igbo coup.
No, it's not an Igbo coup. It's not an Igbo coup. Because I disagree with those people who have been lying that Ujogu coup was an Igbo coup. Some of them are even arguing that because only Ademoyega, Major Ademoyega, who is a Yoruba major, if not the whole 8 of them were Igbos. That was the premise they look at it from. And it was a wrong premise. You see, a revolution is a revolution. Whether people are from the same place, provided you have the same mind to remove those in power.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, whatever I say, put the blame on Tambua, because we had together prayed the Islam prayer that we should not talk here at all. And it looks as if his prayer didn't work. That's why I'm talking. Exactly. Says my name Ibrahim. I was going to respond to you. You see, all we hear here is typical Nigeria. Typical Nigeria, and you are clapping. That's why politicians get away with anything. They get away with murder because you have short memory. Short memory. None of you here seated can defend the votes. If you have complained, Nigerians have been clapping for you. The only way Shekarau became governor, do you know how? Because people lined up. When they ask how many people are there, they say over 500,000. No, I won't give 500,000. Announce Shekarau. It happened in Ghana. Before the election of the last president. 2 days, a lot of us were called to intervene. But why did they do that? The people were ready to die. You are talking, abusing everybody. Nobody has power and will give it to you. Nobody, not even me. If you want a pastor as president, can't get one. The politician is there in Nigeria to steal, to maim, to kill, to remain in power. If you think Tinubu will give it to you, you are wasting your time. So when we speak, we forget history. Unfortunately for me, poverty has made me to be part of the political system from when I left university. I left university in 1987, and I've been part of the process till today. You can't wish me away in the formation of APC. You certainly can't wish me away. You can't wish me away in how APC won election. You can't. But the truth is that if some of us did not stick at our neck, say, PDP, good luck, we want to die with you. When they saw that we were ready to die, what did they do? They gave up power. So we have sweet mouth, we'll talk about it, we'll repeat these things every day. Tomorrow they will call you in Lagos, you will go. You accused Delegiwa of gun running, right?
That's the information. They said he was talking somewhere about arms and ammunition.
They said.
He was not accused of gun running.
Who they said? Who are they?
That's the information that reached SSS.
How did you get the information?
I cannot say that because I'm not the only source of information to SSS.
But was it true?
They have all over the place. They have people writing reports in.
Did you investigate it?
He was not accused. I said, we asked him, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
And what did he say?
He said, Akilu has asked him. I was waiting for us to answer that question because Akilu has asked that question and he has discussed Akilu. And I said, okay, you should have this thing. But later on, he said he is aware that some people are out to blackmail him.
And what did you tell him?
I told him, then go and assess all your friends and the people you talk with.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live. State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Was it true that he discussed gun issues?
We asked him, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
But I'm asking now, did he ever talk about arms and ammunition from the information you got?
There are so many sources of information and intelligence to SSS.
Do you verify those sources?
It's not every information that gets to me.
The one that got to you that made you to invite Delegiwa, did you
That woman told me this is what we were inviting him for.
As the Deputy Director General, did you interrogate that information?
Since it came to me that they invited him, I didn't know when they invited him.
The point I'm making, was that information authentic? Or the SSS just wanted to intimidate him?
No. If it was not authentic, they will not invite him.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Somebody told me in Lagos, said, Look, Mr. Mechi, I said, sir, you see these people that gathered here? I say, yes. We call them all. Transport, this, they came. If tomorrow Tinubu comes with the same transport, they will also come. And the final example is when we are pursuing, the APC was registered, and I was scared that, look, they may rig us out. So I got the party to agree that we will carry out a demonstration. They agreed that we will carry out a demonstration. We assembled at, where is that parade ground? Eagle Square. We released some money to go and bring women and all that. I walked in. One time about me, I must go early to know what is going on before people will come. See the women gathered. Guess what they are wearing? Jonathan for president. God bless you.
I can see so many hands up. I need to be partial.
Let me intervene here. Okay. That is borrowed from Rivers. Because when Odili was in office as a governor, we went on a rally. The entire stadium was filled to capacity. But before we could finish the rally, everybody had left. We were left alone. Then I asked what happened. He said they were paid for only 2 hours.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
For decades, the assassination of Nigerian journalist Delwa by a letter bomb on October 19, 1986, has remained one of Nigeria's most controversial and unsolved mysteries. The finger of suspicion has pointed in many directions, and one man who has repeatedly been drawn into the storm is Brigadier General Kunle Togun, retired, the former Deputy Director General of the State Security Service. In this episode of State Affairs, Brigadier General Togun breaks his silence, offering his perspective on the tragic event that shook the nation. This conversation delves into the heart of Nigeria's dark history of political intrigue, press freedom, and state power. Whether you think you know the story or are hearing it afresh, this interview might just change everything. Brigadier General Kunle Togun, retired, on State Affairs.
Who killed Delwa? The Nigerian state has not been able to answer that question, and many are still asking. In this book I'm holding, the author titles it Delwa, the Unanswered Questions. You see the book? The author of this book is Brigadier Kunle Togun, retired. Brigadier General Kunle Togun, retired. It's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much.
You wrote a book on Delwa.
Yes.
You are one of those accused of knowing what happened to Delwa.
Well, I didn't write the book to exonerate myself. I put it there in the book that I raised observations in areas of investigation into Delwa's death. There are some I raised about 4 or 5 days after Delwa's death, which we forwarded to the police areas to investigate, which they didn't do. So I now wrote this book to highlight areas of observations that could lead to finding out those who carried out the crime.
You were the deputy director of the State Security Service at the time Delegiwa died.
Deputy Director General
of the State Security Service.
Exactly.
SSS.
Yes.
At that time, Delegiwa was one of the most prominent journalists in Nigeria, right?
Yep.
At that time, Delegiwa was troubling the Babangida administration, right?
No, he was not troubling Babangida's administration.
He wasn't?
He wasn't.
So how come he got repeated invitation to the SSS office?
When I got to the SSS, I invited journalists for a meeting. There, I explained to them, in fact, some of them said they would not have come because there was this decree for during Buhari's administration that they were using to pick journalists and this. So they said they were scared, but they found that a military person signed the letter. That's why they came.
Who signed the letter?
I signed the letter inviting them. So that day, I explained to them that the mass media has a lot of role to play in internal security of the nation. And I identified to them the areas where they're supposed to cooperate with the security agencies. Now, that day, after we finished, some of them were, surprised at the way I spoke. And I threw light into the areas of cooperation between the mass media and the security agencies. It was later on, after that, the Directorate of Military Intelligence organized a symposium, and they invited me from SSS to talk at that symposium, and I was to talk on mass media and national security, which I did. And that day, the other person that spoke on mass media and national security was
MCK Ajuluchuku.
Exactly. He stood there on that same topic that same day. So that was the day. I mean, some of them, like Shegun Oshoba was there. Many of them, key, journalists that time.
Was Delegiwa there?
He was there.
Ray Ekpo was there.
I think so. So at the end of it, that was when Shegun Oshoba said, he was looking at me.
Shegun Oshoba that later became the governor of Ogun State.
Exactly. He said, I was just talking. And he started looking to see, probably there was a screen. I was reading from, but he couldn't see anything. I said, I wrote that thing. So what, do I have to read it? This thing is just flowing from the brain. So, when I invited the journalists that time, after we finished, there was entertainment and all this and that. Later on, because I gave my number, both office and residence, that if any security agency invites them and harasses them, they should call me. So I gave my number at that time. So some people call later, they say, I called the newsprint people I didn't call the editors of magazines, but they've heard everything that I discussed with them.
And they also heard the entertainment you gave.
They heard about it.
You mentioned that in your book. What do you mean by entertainment?
No, I mean, after we finished them, we just small chop, minerals and all that, just all.
Did you give out envelopes of money?
No. No, we didn't.
Now, when you called the journalists together, was there an agreement reached in that meeting that you called between you and the editors, including Delwa?
The agreement was that government sometimes can confide in the mass media, but they are not supposed to say it out. I remember this boy asked a question. I can't remember his name. I think I put it in the book. That he was realizing this Vasa coup investigation, and he was invited by military intelligence.
He wrote for The Guardian at the time?
I can't remember what he was writing for. But the boy now complained that, okay, why was he being harassed? He was only doing his job. And I told him, I said, no, you are not doing your job. You are doing your job wrongly. During the investigation, the witnesses, we gave them codes, A1, A2, or B3, or something like that. We didn't mention their name, but in his own report, you are saying A1 is so person. B3 is so person. I said, you are endangering their lives. Because the people who are convicted and executed for that coup, and I said, okay, so those are the people that implicated my dad or implicated my uncle, that he got killed. So, exposing, or I mean, the names of the witnesses was wrong.
And he agreed with you?
Of course. Agreed. I said, so, he didn't harass you.
So, General Togun, you are saying at that meeting, a censorship agreement was agreed?
No.
Censorship. Before you write, contact us.
No, there was nothing like that.
Huh?
The only thing I said is that they should contact people, anything they want to clear on security, they are free to contact the police, the SSS, Army intelligence for clarification before they publish, so that they don't go and start exposing
anything that will embarrass the government.
Exactly. That's the.
But if anything that will embarrass the government was the truth, how would you have felt at that time?
I am always after the truth.
And if the truth is embarrassing, they could go ahead to publish.
Of course. We won't deny it, but the only thing is that if they should not reveal details or anything concerning national security.
What are these details? Give us examples.
Well, the issue, okay, let me give an example. America does it. They inform their mass media their policies on certain areas. And all the mass media in America will do is protect and encourage people to work towards that interest. They won't go out and say, this is our policy, or this American policy against Ghana or against Nigeria.
You are talking about a democratic system.
Yes.
But that was a military government that was dictatorial and totalitarian.
No. I don't see military administration dictatorial. What you see that they try, and in fact, if I have to confess, not that I'm being ethnocentric. military people, you cannot beat them in administration. But I'm surprised that when these people try to apply these principles of administration to decision something, they take it the other way around. They see it as oppression. That's the way I look at it.
You know, I've read a lot about you. You know, as a young university student, we could discuss and say that feared Lieutenant Colonel Kunle Togun. You were feared before he died on October 1986.
Yeah.
How many times did you interview him?
2 times.
The first
was when the woman, Mrs. Aliyu, who's supposed to discuss with him, say her problem with Delegiwa. She reported to me, so I followed the woman to her office, and that when I explained to Delegiwa what the woman was talking about, that he was annoyed about.
Why was Delegiwa annoyed with the woman?
He said he felt that the woman was too junior to discuss with him.
And at that time, the woman was operating at what level in the SSS?
The level she was at was the level of deputy commissioner of police.
And Giwa felt she was not big enough.
He said he felt it was their boss that would talk with him.
And you had to intervene.
That was how I intervened. I didn't invite him direct, or I was not the person supposed to go with him.
Why was he invited?
He wrote an article in Newswatch on SFEM. And he ended that article by saying, if SFEM fails, Babangida and his officials will be stoned on the streets. So that was why that woman invited, why he was invited, and the woman was trying to explain to him. But Delegiwa told me that, who is that woman to tell him to go and, expunge what he has said, what he has written. That's what he said he was annoyed about. So I had to explain to him. Okay, you've written this. If there's a failed coup and they invite you that you are involved, how will you feel? He said, coup? I said, yes. Because they will not consider you've said it too. That Babangida and officials will be stoned on the streets. So therefore you must be involved in that failed coup. I said that what the woman trying to explain.
But that is not equal to a coup, General Togo.
No, I was explaining to him that what the woman was trying explaining to him was that if there's a failed coup, they could use that his statement to implicate him.
But that would not be fair.
That what the woman was telling him.
And you corroborated it.
That what I said, that the woman just trying to tell you that your word, that statement is inciting.
Was that a way of intimidating him?
No.
General Togun, it is intimidating.
It is not intimidating. What we are saying is, when I explained to him, he now realized. I said, if there's a few and they accuse you of being involved because of this statement. You see?
But that statement has nothing to say about a coup.
It is inciting. If he says Babangida and his official will be stoned on the streets.
He didn't say stone Babangida?
No.
He said they will be stoned.
He said if FEM fails,
yes,
Babangida and his official will be stoned on the streets.
But it's not saying go and stone him.
That is inciting.
But that is not linked to a coup.
It can get people to organize a coup.
Just like that?
It's inciting. So that was what I now explained to him.
And he agreed with you?
Yes, because I mentioned to him that I was not in Nigeria when Net Building caught fire. And I learned that a journalist, about 3 or 4 days before that fire incident, stated in an article that is our fire service capable or prepared to fight fire in high-rise buildings. And when that happened, they picked up the journalist. Delegiwa laughed. Riepu was there. He said to Riepu.
Yes, you stated that in your book.
Yeah, I said it. So I said, that's the same thing with this one. That if anything goes wrong now, they can say, Delegiwa is aware because he made this statement. I said, that's what the woman was just explaining to you.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM 105.5.
My children are athletes. From the moment they wake up, they keep playing and learning. So when I pack the new Milo NS snacks into their lunchbox, I'm giving them a delicious
carried out that coup came from that region or close to it. So they have defined that coincidence as an Igbo coup.
Not even coincidence. You can't say it's coincidence.
Okay.
It's a reality. The revolutionary wanted to change a government. Who were the people who were holding the apparatus of the government? The ruling class, the ruling party. Sarana was the head of the party. He stayed in Kaduna. If you want to change that government without eliminating Sarana, do you think that government that coup will succeed? That was why they became target of the revolutionaries.
What about Akintola?
Akintola was, yes, Akintola. You see what happened was that they made an alliance with the party of Akintola. That was, I was telling you that the ruling party wanted to extend their political tentacle to capture power in the West. And it deteriorated to crisis, serious crisis. You see, so Western region became a problematic region that must be dealt with. The Prime Minister, Tafawa Balewa, who's supposed to use his power to quell the situation in the West, refused. So when Uyo came up, they wanted to bring peace in the Western region. Even when they are talking about Igbo coup, I always laugh at them. When you say that it was an Igbo coup, who was the person who was the mark to become the prime minister? Was it Okpara in the east? Was it Azikiwe, who had no power, who was a titular president general? It was Awolowo from the west. Then what type of interest the revolutionary wanted to protect? If they call it an Igbo coup, picking somebody from the west to become the prime minister. So they had a national interest, not an Igbo interest at all.
You sound as if Nzogu is your hero.
He's my hero. He's my hero. Up till now, he's my hero. He's my hero.
Otsoja, you're saying that?
Yes. And because if he's not a hero, he's a nationalist. Nzogu was a nationalist to the core. You see, people, all these politicians are talking from their both sides of their mouth. When Njogu was killed in July 1967, around the campuses of Nsukka University, in the night, by 21 Battalion, under Captain Wushishi. They recognized his body and they informed go on, order them to remove the body to Kaduna for a befitting burial, national burial. He was given that national honor. Nzogu was given that national honor. So he was a hero. And when people talk about Igboku, I always laugh at them.
If you are interested in understanding the man Nzogu, I am recommending this book to you, Nzogu by Olusegun Obasanjo. It seems to be the only one who has taken time to give us a biography of Kaduna Nzogu. So this is one book that is revealing about the person of Nzogu. And Warrant Officer Peter Salifu, retired, seems to admire Nzogu a lot. So you can get this book on udarabooks.com, or you can order it through our WhatsApp numbers. So the numbers are on the screen. The Nzogu coup led to a counter coup.
Yes.
The counter coup was followed by a pogrom.
The program.
And your second book, entitled The Holocaust of the Nigerian Biafra War, dwells on that Holocaust.
Yes.
But on the pogrom in chapter 2.
Yes.
You make the point that you identified the officers that led the counter coup.
Yeah.
Muhammadu Buhari was one of them.
Hey, Babangida.
Abacha. Murtala Muhammad.
T.Y. Danjuma.
And some of them eventually became heads of states.
4 of them.
Is there something special about the caliber of that team?
If you examine that coup and the enthronement of these people as head of state, military head of state, you realize that these people were the people who entrenched ethnicity into Nigerian politics.
How do you mean?
Yes. Right from there, if you look at Buhari regime, there's no doubt that you can call that regime anti-ethnicity. He encouraged ethnicity and other vices. You see, that is why if you look closely, the Murtala Muhammad coup and how 4 of them became head of the military government in Nigeria subsequently.
But General Togu, look at it. I'm a journalist. I can study the past, look at today, and I project into the future. I can come on radio and say that if the level of poverty continue to rise, violence will rise. Is that wrong?
Come. The way you said it now,
yes,
it's not inciting. The way the Legiwa stated is that if Spain-faced Babangida will be stoned on the streets, is different from if level of poverty continues, the people might do this. It's different. There's a difference.
But do you agree a journalist can be a prophet?
Of course. Our own training, security training, ID psychological operations, which is attitude and attitude change. I was trained in the US. We are trained to analyze and forecast.
Like a journalist. If STEMS fails, Babangida will be stoned on the street.
And his officials
including Togun, will be stoned on the street.
Yes.
That is forecasting. General Togun.
The word will.
Will.
does not make it a forecast. That is where the interview will go that if he says Babangida maybe, it's not the Swiss. It's different from will be.
That was the first interrogation.
Exactly.
And Delegiwa was invited again in October, a few days before the Paso bomb was delivered. Why did you invite him the second time?
I was not the one that invited him.
The SSS invited him?
Yes.
And you were part of
and
the SSS?
And it is that woman, again, who's supposed to carry out the interview. She now came to me that they have invited Delegiwa again. No. So I said, okay, what did you invite him about? She explained to me. I said, madam, I will help you one more time. After this, I will not interfere with the quarrel between you and your boyfriend anymore. I jokingly called the Delegiwa her boyfriend. That's why I did the other one. Just to make sure that there's no...
This woman in question is Mrs. Aliyu, as you stated in your book.
Yes.
You said Delegiwa ended the article by saying that if STEM failed, Babangida and his officials would be stoned on the streets. Yes. This was the main aspect on which Delegiwa was invited. When he got to the SSS office, he met Mrs. Aliyu. I just wanted to make that clear. Okay. You stated Mrs. Aliyu in your book. Exactly. Go ahead, sir.
So it is the same woman who's supposed to interview him. And I've warned all of them, they have to be careful the way they handle journalists. So that's why the woman came to me and said, okay, they have invited him again. No. I said, what did you invite him for? She explained to me. And I said, okay, I will help you one more time to do your job. So that's why I did the interview.
What was the main subject in that interview?
Well, the main subject in that interview, one, he said he was going to write an article on Ukiwe.
Ubitu Ukiwe.
Ukiwe. He was removed then as the chief of general staff to Babangida. They are more or less like number 2 to Babangida when I was president. And that time there was this tension. This anti-Igbo something that they are bringing up that it's because the woman was an Igbo person. So all I told her that he said no. I said nobody says you should not write your article, but don't let your article whip up flame up this tribal sentiment.
The first article was titled "Power Game. Ukiwe loses out." So he was going to do the other side
of the story. So we're not saying that you should not write anything, no. But don't allow your article to inflame the tribal sentiment that's already up.
That was intimidating, General Togun. You see, at that point, you might have indicated to him that we are not comfortable with this story that you are writing. Perhaps you didn't want to hit the nail on the head. If you had the chance, you would have told him, don't write about this story again. Because Babangida was not comfortable with the story.
What we are saying that we are security people. And there is this anti-Igbo sentiment that have been put into this issue. And our own duty is to make sure that the thing is not fly up. So advising him that way, we not say you can write your article, but don't allow your article to flame up this and tribal sentiment.
You know,
that is not intimidation.
About 2 invitations within a very short period by the SSS, interviewed by the feared Deputy Director General of the SSS. And General Togun, you say it is not intimidating?
It is not intimidating. Advising, because we are to make sure that there's internal stability in this country.
But why Delegiwa all the time?
SSA was not the only one that invited him.
Because the Directorate of Military Intelligence.
The police invited him.
Why him?
Because there's the one that's one police officer, who's a John Ububuaja or something like that.
You're talking about Lozie Ugubuaja.
Exactly.
Who was a PRO of police.
That man that time said that the army doesn't know more than pepper soup and beer.
Where did he say that?
He said it. It was published. That's why he was invited by DMI. And when we discussed this issue with him, I said, my friend, you don't know something, no? The army, the military, they have military law. So they are bound by military law and they are bound by the country's law. So they are bound by two laws. The same thing with police. So it is better for you meet these police people, find out what offense has this boy committed.
By that time, Alozie was still in the police before he was suspended.
He was still serving.
But he didn't make that statement as an open statement, did he?
He made it open. It was published. It was published that time.
And it was published by the News Watch?
By at least in the newspaper in Nigeria published it.
Dele Giwa got linked to Ogugbuaja because the SSS got information that in the case of any sacking of Alozie Ogugbuaja, Dele Giwa and Rick will promise to employ him as a staff of Newswatch, right?
No.
So what was the issue?
The issue was we advised him. I personally said, my friend, if you are going to defend anything, because the boy is a journalist, don't just go all out back. Go to the police, find out from them what offense has this boy committed. Then you can appeal with them. But, okay, if it is like that, oh, please temper justice with mercy. That's what I told Delegiwa.
But is it true that the SSS got information that Delegiwa had promised to employ Alozie Ogugbuaja into Newswatch in case the police fired him?
I'm not aware of that information, candidly.
You're not aware of that information?
I wasn't aware of that information.
Was the home of Delegiwa bugged by the intelligence service?
No.
Did you bug his house?
No. I'm not aware that his house was bugged. No.
You're not aware?
No.
Does intelligence service bug people's houses?
No. That time.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Were you listening on Delegiwa's telephone conversations?
No.
So how did you get some of the information you got? Because in your book, you advised him to be very careful about those he spoke with.
Yes, because I brought up that action because when we asked him, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
Because you interviewed him about that.
That's one of the things they were supposed to ask him. And that when he laughed and said, all these things you'll be asking me, I've discussed with Akilu.
Akilu was the head of DMI.
He was the director of military intelligence. And I said, okay, if Akilu had already discussed this with you, we don't need again to call you.
But how come you didn't know Akilu had discussed with him?
Akilu's office is separate from SSS.
But the intelligence services have corporations, don't they?
The level of intelligence at that time, okay, SSS was established as NSO after 1976. After Jamuta Mohammed was assassinated. And they found there's a need for an internal security setup. And they urgently used E-branch, the special branch of the police, to form NSO that time. So the level of intelligence and the training of these people has not gone to the level of the one you are talking about, that the intelligence people are supposed to be interacting and be exchanging information. It has not gone to that level.
At that time.
Because I was posted there in 1985.
When Babangida came in?
I was the one that wrote virtually all the lectures in the training school for SSS personnel.
Why were you not made the head of SSS?
I don't know.
Why Guazu?
The only thing was that Guazu was a police person. And that day, when General Bangda called me, he said, "Only assessor." He said, "You say you can never work with police." I can't work with police. So. He said, "You work with one."
He gave you orders.
He just said, "You will work with one." That's all he told me that time. Before, later on, I was posted to SSS.
And you dominated that organization?
I didn't dominate it. Guazo was the DG. I was just his deputy.
And the deputy, your name was everywhere. You were the feared one.
As the deputy.
Deputy that was a military officer.
As the deputy director general, I'm in charge of all the state commands. So all reports from the states come to me.
So you were in charge?
I wasn't in charge.
General Togun was in charge.
I wasn't. He just schedule of duty.
You were Babangida's boy, right?
All these Babangida's boys, there's nothing like Babangida's boys.
No? General Togun? Babangida had his boys. And General Togun was one of them.
If Babangida had boys, those people they refer to as his boys were those that were involved in change of government. They are brought Babangida in.
You accused Delegiwa of gun running, right?
That's the information. They said he was talking somewhere about arms and ammunition.
They said.
He was not accused of gun running.
Who they said? Who are they?
That's the information that reached SSS.
How did you get the information?
I cannot say that because I'm not the only source of information to SSS.
But was it true?
They have all over the place. They have people writing reports in.
Did you investigate it?
He was not accused. I said, we asked him, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
And what did he say?
He said, Akilu has asked him. I was waiting for us to answer that question. Because Akilu has asked that question and he has discussed Akilu. And I said, okay, you should have this thing. But later on he said he is aware that some people are out to blackmail him.
And what did you tell him?
I told him, then go and assess all your friends and the people you talk with. So that you know the level of what you discuss with them. And he said he could not do that. And I said, okay, I can ask for 3 months leave without pay. Then I will help you do this job, but you pay me in dollars. So I just jokingly, made that one come to him. That was just all.
Was it true that he discussed gun issues?
We as in, where were you talking about arms and ammunition?
But I'm asking now, did he ever talk about arms and ammunition from the information you got?
There are so many sources of information and intelligence to SSS.
Do you verify those sources?
It's not every information that gets to me.
The one that got to you that made you to invite Delegiwa, did you
That woman told me this is what we were inviting him for.
As the Deputy Director General, did you interrogate that information?
Since it came to me that they invited him, I didn't know when they invited him.
The point I'm making, was that information authentic? Or the SSS just wanted to intimidate him?
No. If it was not authentic, they will not invite him. And I said, come. If the people believe this information, they will invite you.
So did they investigate him?
Come. I said they will monitor you. When they get everything, they cook.
So there was no evidence.
come, there is, because he asked that day, what is our source of information?
Yes, and what did you say?
And I asked him, you are a journalist. Do you reveal your source of information? You are not asking security agencies to tell you their own source. As a journalist, you don't reveal your source of information on all the things you publish. So you are not telling security agencies to tell you their source.
What was the look on his face while you were speaking with him?
No,
was there fear on his face?
No. I said it was like a friendly something.
Who was Delegiwa from the conversations you had with him? How would you describe him?
Well, by the time I got to that woman's office, Delegiwa was already telling them, the people in the office there, how close he was to Babangida, how close he was to General Aliyu, who was they call him, he was supposed to be national security, but he was not called national security advisor. Call him, that's a name they gave him, coordinator on national security. That was what they called General Aliyu that time. So now, he told us how close he was to him. He talked so much about the people he's associated with. That was the day he told us that when he was newspaper was short of newsprint, Babangida has cancelled import license that time. He said Babangida gave them 1.something million import license to import newsprint for Newswatch. So what I realized about the Gladiators is loose-tongued. Candidly.
What did you say?
Loose-tongued. He was talking too much. And that's why I believe that he has no secret. All the things going to put in the Newswatch, he tests people before he even prints them. And that's why I told you.
So those people will come leak the information to the intelligence service?
No. When he was asking, and I said, okay, are you sure those people you talked about your relationship with high-ups in government, are you sure they are not jealous of you? And they are the ones trying to get you, get those people to start to disbelieve you.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM 105.5.
My kids love
of the masses, not the interest of the masses. And
not the interest of the North?
Not the interest of the North. Well, which North? Look at how they left the North in chaos. How many of them became president of this country from northern part of the country? Look at the poverty there at alarming rate. Look at the insecurity in the North, the banditry, the Boko Haram, and maybe probably a week ago they said they have discovered another group again from Sokoto.
Yeah.
Coming up again. Go to North. We rule. Our people govern for almost 20-something years. But what have we gotten from the North? Poverty and squalor. Abject poverty in the North. Nothing.
You live in the North.
I still live in the North.
You came all the way
from the North
to Ibadan.
To Ibadan.
For this interview.
Yes. Despite my age of being 77 years old.
Why were you so interested?
I know, because I want to correct those errors. A lot of people are talking so much in the social media, trying to act or to distort history. They wanted to destroy history. So I want to put down the truth of the matter.
You make the argument that the counter coup led to the civil war.
Yes.
You've also said that the counter coup was a revenge coup.
Yeah, a revenge coup.
That means to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
The counter coup was a reaction to the January coup.
Yes.
So if you are saying the counter coup led to the civil war, will I be right to also say that because the January coup led to the counter coup, so the civil war can also be linked to the January coup?
But how can you link it? The counter coup to January coup. They had their own interests at heart.
Because the counter coup came because there was a January coup.
But look at the killings. Look at the killings. The counter coup, the target of the counter coup were the ruling class, 2 civilians from the north. 2 civilians from the north. Amadou Bello, who was the premier of the northern region, and the party leader, NPC, and the Tafawa Balewa was the prime minister, were killed. Then if you come to Lagos, there was Mamalari, Palm, defending the interests of the government at the center. They were taken out too. Then only Lagema, Lieutenant Colonel Lagema, the 4th Battalion commander at Ibadan, was equally killed because he was defending Akitola, that trouble western region. That was why Lagema was taken out too. But look at that.
Colonel Onegbe was also killed.
Onegbe because of maybe he was a quartermaster general. Maybe he was having conflict with the revolutionaries.
So an Igbo officer was killed.
An Igbo officer was killed. How do you say about that?
So the counter coup did not just target leadership.
No.
It targeted the people.
The people concerned at the upper echelon of the army. The January 1966 coup, led by Major Kaduna Njogu, was with ideology and focus. They were having ideology and focus. And they were having a direction to take, path to take. But if you look at July 1966 coup, they had no ideology and focus. The coup was there to revenge.
Obasanjo in this book, My Command, described the killings in the counter coup as senseless killings.
Yes, senseless killing. I describe it in my own new book too.
In chapter 2?
In chapter 2.
Because you quoted this book?
Yes, I quoted this book.
Why did you go for this book?
Because Obasanjo was telling the truth. He was telling the truth that many people don't want to hear. He stated the truth here.
Are you recommending this book to people?
Yes, for history purpose.
Okay.
For history purpose.
The title of this book is My Command, an account of the Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 1970. A book written by Olusegun Obasanjo, My Command. It will help you understand where we are coming from. You can order your copy from udarabooks.com. Obasanjo said that the killings in the counter coup were senseless. Army officers of Igbo origin were killed in Abeokuta, in Ikeja.
3 of them.
Below is live.
The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. So I just played part 1 of the interview with Brigadier General Kunle Togun with you. If you want to listen to the full interview, subscribe to my YouTube account. Just search for E. Obilo on YouTube or Edmund Obilo on YouTube. The full video is already on my page. I posted it yesterday. Yes. So if you want to listen to the full interview, go on my YouTube account. You've not even listened to the more interesting part. So visit my YouTube account, subscribe to the channel, and watch the full video. It's already there. It's been uploaded. It's about 1 hour, 10 minutes. 1 hour, 10 minutes. It's an interview you need to listen to. So subscribe to Edmondo Bilo on YouTube and listen to the interview. The Brigadier Kunle Togun interview on State Affairs. You have listened to that interview. Let me call it part 1 of the interview. You have anything to say? You know, Kunle Togun wrote a book. It's entitled Delegiwa, the Unanswered Questions. Delegiwa, the Unanswered Questions. This is the book written by Brigadier General Kunle Togun, retired. In this book, he tells his story. In this book, he raises issues about Delegiwa and his assassination. This book is on udarabooks.com. If you are interested in research, I've read the book. I've read his story from the first page to the last. I read every book. In fact, I read it critically. You may want to read this book. It's on udarabooks.com. You can also order the book through my WhatsApp number. That is 080 18449. That is 080 18449. So just chat with me and order a copy. The book of the day is Philosophy of African Liberation. You know, a caller asked me about the solution to the myriads of problems arresting the development of Nigeria. This author, he was on radio 2 weeks ago with me. I'm talking about Chukunwike Enekwechi. He wrote a book entitled Philosophy of African Liberation. Philosophy of African Liberation. Dismantling the tripod stand of bondage in Africa. You can also say dismantling the tripod stand of bondage in Nigeria. Philosophy of African Liberation. Dismantling the tripod stand of bondage in Africa. Written by Chukunwike Enekwechi. It is the book of the week. It is the book of the week. You listened to the author 2 weeks ago. I'll be bringing him back again. In this book, you'll find the solutions to the fundamental problems of Africa. Philosophy of African Liberation, dismantling the tripod stand of bondage in Africa. Another book I'm recommending to you in this class is this one by Professor Tunji Olaokpa. It's entitled Civil Service and the Imperative of Nation Building. Are you a politician? Are you in government? Are you a civil servant? This book is for you. Are you a policy analyst? Are you a lay reader? This book, Civil Service and the Imperative of Nation Building by Tunji Olaokpa, is for you. Well written, sweet book. Sweet. Civil Service and the Imperative of Nation Building. The book examines the Nigerian civil service on the basis of its dysfunction, failings, successes, progress, and the future possibilities from theoretical as well as practical perspectives. Civil Service and the Imperative of Nation Building by Tunji Olaokpa. I think he's the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, a former permanent secretary. So he's written from He has written from experience and is also a professor of public administration. So I recommend the book to you. Another book by Tunji Olaokpa is this one, Reforms, Governance and Development in Nigeria. Reforms, Governance and Development in Nigeria by Tunji Olaokpa. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother Edmond Obilu. Oviava, Fabulu.
Bodiaye.
Odiano say.
Good.
Well, the issue at stake. General Togun has spoken so much, and I believe he has so much to say more. Delwa was warned ahead, but he refused to heed caution. And consequently, he paid the price, the supreme price for it. He was murdered. My question to you is, when General Olusegun retired, assumed power in 1999, he set up a Okuta panel to investigate past events of the military, their actions, and other damages they did to the nation. After that panel, what happened? My question is, after all these, your interview to remind us of the past and prepare us probably for the future, what is next, Edmond Obilu? I said I want to remind you of a justice you should invite to your program about the mother of Prince Bola Ige. His name is Justice Moshood Abbas, who gave his valedictory lecture on retirement and told what he suffered after Bola Ige death. And the case file was assigned to him. Because of the threat he was getting, he returned the case file. And he was posted to Shaki High Court, where he stayed for almost 10 years. Invite him to give the judicial aspect of how they handled, or what he knows about the mother, or what is now known in your program, the state mother of Prince Bola Ige. General Togun, like I said.
Okay, you have to round off. I have 30 seconds for you.
Thank you so much. Ask General Togun why he did not invite other journalists as he was inviting Delwa. Maybe your next edition. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, he talked about Oputa panel. Go and listen to the interview on my YouTube. I mentioned Oputa panel there. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. The full video is already there. The lines are open. 30 seconds. Hit the nail on the head. 07069493000. That's the number to call. 07069493000. That's the number to call. Are you on X? Thank you for being there. The X. Let's take that call, but soon before we go. 30 seconds. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. The radio man.
I greet you.
God bless you. Long time we hear from each other. Mr. Maim from Ibadan. So I've been hearing your interview and how you have been presenting everything to go to the grassroots to tell us whether there will be changes in Nigeria. Well, I know that one day, the country will be free from all this type of calamity that is happening in this country. If Nigeria, leaders that we have, are doing the right thing, all this problem will not be happening every day. But thank God, I know one day, Nigeria will be free from all this kill him, this and that. Thanks for Dilo. God be with you, Mr. Manuel. I just want to say hello to all of you. More grace to help in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you.
Thank you. Lanista Aspiration on X, thank you for being there. Omoyefa Kazim, thank you for being there. Citizen Henry, thank you for being on X. And like I see DKM, thank you, DKM, for retweeting. Taiwo Latunji, I greet you, aka Juxe. I am Edmondo Bilo. Next week is another time on State Affairs. Don't miss it. More interesting interviews and analysis coming your way. Stay cool.